This presentation will share various findings on the cultural influence of intergenerational relationships. We will define culture in general and briefly consider a framework for how it impacts children's development. Then we will look at current research regarding how intergenerational relationships specifically influence children. The APA Dictionary of Psychology defines culture as the values, beliefs, language, rituals, traditions, and other behaviors that are passed from one generation to another within any social group, and the characteristics and attitudes and behaviors of a particular group within society, such as a profession, social class, or age group. In conversational terms, this could be considered as the makeup and influencing characters of any given environment. This is evidenced in Bronfenbrenner's bioecological model, with cultural influences becoming more proximal as they get closer to the daily activities of a child and more distal as they are further removed. In this presentation, we will consider the proximal influence of the cultural impact of intergenerational relationships in a child's life. Intergenerational interaction, particularly within a family and specifically between grandparents and grandchildren, is a valid influence across many other cultural lines. All families are made up of multiple generations, and different national or ethnic groups may have differing but significant ways of interacting across intergenerational lines. My own family culture has been highly defined by grandparent-grandchild relationships over multiple generations. As a teacher of young children, I have often experienced the impact that grandparents and grandchildren have on one another in the lives of the families in my classes. Why is the impact of multiple generational involvement more significant now than ever before? Across the world, adults are generally living longer and having healthier old age, allowing grandparents to be more involved in child rearing than previous generations. Maternal grandmothers tend to be most involved, but others, including step-grandparents, may play prominent roles. An increase in divorce, single parenting, and working mothers have created a void in some communities that grandparents have filled. In countries without subsidized childcare, grandparents step in to fill the need many times. Grandparents can be key confidants for children during or after divorce, and it is reasonable to consider that this effect may be the case in other situations involving family change. Grandparents also fill in roles like attending school meetings and helping with homework. Research is growing across multiple countries, which indicates that grandparent involvement may increase mental well-being, resilience, and pro-social behavior. These positive effects were recorded in situations where grandparents provided supplemental care rather than primary care. In Hong Kong, a positive association between grandparent involvement and cognitive well-being and friendship quality was shown in young adults. Mothers reporting on maternal grandmother involvement indicated a reduced negative association between emotional reactivity and social competence in their children. A protective factor from the effects of harsh maternal parenting on externalizing behaviors was also observed in this study for children with higher maternal grandparent involvement. Children and grandparents support one another. The positive benefits are bidirectional. In an Australian study that observed effects of a music-making program involving children and older adults found positive benefits, including social engagement and development of positive attitudes about young people as a result of taking part in the program. However, one study has found negative effects for both grandchildren and grandparents when grandparents provided care in excess of 30 hours a week. This is significant as a study of 8,752 families published in 2008 in Great Britain found 44% of families with young children between the ages of 8 and 24 months used significant regular grandparent care. In China, parents have flocked to work in urban areas, leaving children to grow up in the countryside raised by grandparents. The same phenomenon has been recorded in Romania and the Philippines when parents are working in other countries in order to find jobs best suited to caring for their families financially. As of 2004, an estimated 2.5 million grandparents in the United States were providing primary custodial care for their grandchildren in place of biological parents. This support network keeps many children in the care of families' homes so they do not have to enter the foster care system. Research indicates that special support and education for these second time around parents may be helpful for family success. Although there are similarities in trends of grandparent involvement across cultures, there are also differences. In Western societies, grandparents are expected to support but not supplant parents. In some traditional Asian, African, and Latin American cultures, there is a more authoritarian view of grandparenting. In immigrant families, there may be cultural tension in balancing these roles. One observation I can make comes from my own experience as a parent. My two children have been fortunate to have strong intergenerational relationships with 4 grandparents. As very young children, this included nurturing and caregiving experiences away from their parents. As my children have grown into adolescence, their grandparents have provided consistent positive support for them. This additional support in caregiving, encouragement, and meeting practical needs has boosted my resiliency and capability as a parent in ways that have not happened through other avenues. As a teacher, I have seen grandparents providing the same type of support and encouragement in the lives of my students. Many of my young students throughout the 20+ years I have been teaching have enthusiastically shared stories of meaningful experiences with their grandparents. Grandparents have often expressed enthusiasm to participate in school events and support their grandchildren's learning outside of school hours. Just this year, I have witnessed 3 to 4 grandparents stepping in as caregivers to pick up children when parents are unavailable. I have also observed grandparents in 2 specific situations who are providing additional support, such as a temporary place to live, daily before and after school care, and extra support in the evenings and on weekends for 2 families going through divorce. I've also worked with grandparents who were in the position of providing primary or even sole care for a child due to struggles the parents were facing. These relationships provide a loving support and safety net for the children, but as research indicates, they are not without their challenges to the well-being of the children and the grandparents. The involvement of grandparents with families is nothing new, but it is a significant part of the child-rearing culture today, both in the United States and countries the world over. The ramifications of this must be recognized in order to fully support children's development.